Hello, my little love. Did you have a good day today? I hope something made you smile. Now take a slow breath, relax your shoulders, and let your mind get soft and quiet. It's time for a gentle bedtime story. Once upon a time, in a peaceful village nestled between rolling green hills, there lived two friends who loved to laugh and play together. One was a kind farmer who worked in the rice fields, singing soft songs to the growing plants. The other was a cheerful merchant who traveled from village to village, bringing colorful ribbons, smooth stones, and little wooden toys that made gentle clicking sounds. These two friends had known each other since they were small children, running barefoot through meadows and catching fireflies on warm summer evenings. They shared everything, from bowls of rice to stories under the stars. But as they grew older, they each discovered they had a very unusual talent, and this talent made them giggle every time they thought about it. One lazy afternoon, when the sun was warm and golden and the breeze smelled of flowers, the two friends sat beneath a wide old tree. Its branches spread out like arms offering shade, and its leaves rustled with a sound like whispered secrets. They had just finished eating a peaceful lunch of rice cakes and sweet chestnuts. The farmer leaned back against the tree trunk and said with a sleepy smile that he believed he had a rather special gift. The merchant raised his eyebrows with gentle curiosity and asked what sort of gift it might be. The farmer chuckled softly and said he could make the most remarkable sounds. Sounds that came from deep within, sounds that could surprise and amuse anyone who heard them. The merchant laughed, a warm bubbling laugh like water over smooth stones, and said that he too had such a gift, perhaps even more impressive. The two friends looked at each other, their eyes twinkling with playful challenge. They decided, in the gentle way of old friends, to have a friendly contest to see whose talent was truly more remarkable. They agreed to meet the next day at noon, when the sun would be high and the village would be taking its peaceful afternoon rest. They would find a quiet spot in the meadow beyond the village, where only the butterflies and grasshoppers would be their audience. That evening, both friends prepared in their own ways. The farmer ate a dinner of beans and sweet potatoes, foods that rumbled gently in his belly like a distant drum. The merchant enjoyed a meal of radishes and fermented vegetables, foods that bubbled and fizzed quietly inside him like a hidden brook. Both went to sleep that night with smiles on their faces, dreaming of the silly contest to come. When morning arrived, the sun rose soft and pink, painting the sky with colors like the inside of a seashell. Birds sang their gentle wake-up songs, and dewdrops on the grass sparkled like tiny jewels. The farmer and the merchant each went about their morning tasks, but both felt a flutter of excitement in their hearts. At noon, they met in the meadow as planned. The grass was tall and soft, swaying slowly in the breeze. Wildflowers dotted the field with spots of purple, yellow, and white. The air smelled sweet and fresh. The two friends found a comfortable spot and sat down facing each other, grinning like mischievous children. The farmer offered to go first. He took a deep breath, closed his eyes, and concentrated. Then, from deep within, came a sound, a long rumbling sound like distant thunder rolling across hills. It was impressive and made both friends burst into gentle laughter. The sound seemed to go on, rising and falling like a funny song. When it finally ended, The merchant clapped his hands slowly and nodded with respect. Now it was the merchant's turn. He straightened his back, took a slow breath, and focused his energy. Then came his sound, different from the farmer's, higher and more musical, like a trumpet being played by someone who didn't quite know how. It had a rhythm to it, almost like a melody, and it too lasted a surprisingly long time. The farmer listened with wide eyes and then laughed so hard he had to hold his belly. They went back and forth like this, each taking turns, each sound more amusing than the last. The farmer's sounds were deep and resonant, like a drum in a cave. The merchants were lighter and more varied, sometimes squeaky, sometimes whistling. The contest was ridiculous and wonderful, and both friends laughed until tears rolled down their cheeks. As the afternoon wore on, they tried different approaches. The farmer stood on his head, thinking it might help. The merchant jumped up and down 3 times before his turn. They made silly faces. They wiggled and jiggled. Each attempt brought more laughter, more joy, more of the simple happiness that comes from being completely yourself with someone who loves you. Finally, as the sun began to lower in the sky, casting long golden shadows across the meadow, both friends lay on their backs in the soft grass, exhausted from laughing. Their bellies were tired, their faces were tired, but their hearts were full and warm. The farmer turned his head to look at his friend and said softly that he thought the merchant had won. The merchant turned to look at the farmer and said no, surely the farmer had been more impressive. They argued gently, each insisting the other was better, each trying to give the victory away. Then they both started laughing again, because they realized something beautiful. It didn't matter who won. What mattered was the afternoon they had shared, the silliness, the joy, the freedom to be completely ridiculous together. The contest wasn't really about who could make the loudest or longest sound. It was about friendship, about being able to laugh at themselves, about finding joy in the simplest, silliest things. They decided to call it a tie. They shook hands, still giggling, and walked back toward the village together as the sun set behind them, painting the sky with colors of orange and pink and soft purple. The evening air grew cool and comfortable, and the first stars began to appear overhead like little friendly eyes opening. From that day on, whenever the farmer and the merchant saw each other in the village, they would catch each other's eye and smile, remembering their silly contest in the meadow. Sometimes, when no one else was listening, one would make a tiny version of that funny sound, and the other would have to cover his mouth to keep from laughing out loud. The other villagers never quite understood why these two friends would sometimes start giggling for no apparent reason, but they didn't mind. They could see the warmth and joy between the two men, and it made everyone feel a little happier. The village was a better place because these two friends knew how to laugh together, how to be silly together, how to remind each other that life doesn't always have to be serious. Years passed, and the farmer and the merchant grew older. Their hair turned gray, and they moved a little more slowly. But they never forgot that afternoon in the meadow, and they never stopped finding reasons to laugh together. They taught the children in the village that friendship is about accepting each other completely, even the silly parts, especially the silly parts. And on quiet evenings, when they sat together watching the sunset, they would sometimes chuckle softly, remembering the day they had the most ridiculous contest in the world. The day they learned that the best victories are the ones you share with a friend. And that laughter is one of the most precious gifts we can give each other. The meadow where they held their contest became a special place in the village. A place where people went when they needed to remember how to smile, how to be playful, how to let go of worry and just enjoy the simple, silly, wonderful moments that make life beautiful. You did well today, my little love. Now let your eyes grow heavy. And let the night wrap around you like a soft blanket. Sleep well, sweet dreams, and rest deeply.